Prior to Poetry Out Loud, I really didn't have a broad understanding of poetry besides what I was taught in English class. It was a different level of learning for me.
My experience with poetry before I started this competition was admittedly pretty limited. And now that I've done this competition, I've found like a new avenue to express and feel.
The Poetry Out Loud program gives students across the nation the opportunity to participate in a recitation contest. We select poems from different guidelines. We also delve into how we recite them, allowing the poems to come alive. This year, Poetry Out Loud is celebrating 20 years. That's 20 years of longevity, 20 years of art, and 20 years of self-expression.
What was really great about the anthology that's provided through Poetry Out Loud is that you're introduced to a diverse group of poems and poets. That's part of what Poetry Out Loud is. It's introducing you to things you've never seen before.
Competing was very tedious. It was exciting to hear everyone's poems. My favorite poem that I recited was definitely Ballad of Birmingham by Dudley Randall, because it is actually a reenactment of history. We see how things are now, but we don't see what it took to get there and the things that people went through.
Finding out that I made it to finals, I'm never gonna forget that moment. You're just on the top of the world.
Being a poet myself and having to recite someone else's poem was a bit challenging. You really wanted to understand what the true message was. My favorite poem that I enjoyed competing with, that I used for both of my years, 2015 and 2016, would be I'm a Fool to Love You by Cornelius Eady. And it's a poem that talks about with what we deal with in the African American community when it comes to our relationships and how we go about our daily lives.
There's something really cathartic about finding a poem and digging into a poem and spending all this time on it and connecting with it and then getting to go in front of an audience and show how much you've connected with it. It's really awesome to see how many kids can come together from all around the country and none of us know each other. It was one of the most natural things I've ever felt in my life, just a bunch of poets sitting around talking with each other.
Poetry Out Loud is about community. What competition in general brings is you think it's everyone going against each other, but a lot of these kids are coming together. They're asking questions, listening to you say that, I felt this, and it really brings these students together to understanding a sense of teamwork.
There's so much, especially within this program. I saw myself and my fellow students and friends blossom in this program.
It's another outlet, just like playing sports or singing in the school choir. It's another way to express yourself. Learn something that you might have never learned before and try something new.
Louisiana and the South in general is where some of, in my opinion, the best art comes from. We have a lot to process as a community, and poetry creates a beautiful place to do that.
There are a lot of students that I have met who they had never even written poetry before until they had participated in Poetry Out Loud.
Students can be a lot more comfortable saying other people's words than saying words that are meant to be their own.
Poetry Out Loud was probably one of the greatest things that happened to my life, honestly. It helped me to tap on the surface of a certain confidence that I still carry with me today. Being on stage, it's always been my home, but I didn't realize that I can use my voice in multiple ways, and Poetry Out Loud allowed me to discover that.
I feel like Poetry Out Loud helped me to build my confidence. It helped my communication skills. Had I learned how to read poetry and feel poetry, I probably wouldn't know how to write a song and feel a song today. Poetry Out Loud definitely helped me to put things into perspective, to just stay to my natural self and give it the best that I have.
Since I went to nationals in DC, I found out that I got into the musical theater school of my dreams, Texas State in San Marcos. Keeping that regimented routine practice of doing poetry helped me through the audition process this year. It reassured me that I'm capable in a lot of ways of doing things on stage and performing in that capacity. Mainly, I want to leave behind a legacy that Louisiana is a force to be reckoned with. We are capable, and we're gonna do big things.
After high school, I began to perform in community theater productions. I also became interested in using my abilities to motivate and inspire others to show up as their best selves every day.
Poetry Out Loud benefited me by opening a ton of doors for me as a performer, especially trying to go into a professional field, a professional arts field. It allowed me the chance to travel to DC, which is one of my dream cities, and that was awesome, and I got paid. So that's pretty great too.
One of the greatest things I've learned is that even when you have no clue what you're doing, as long as you're giving 1,000% effort, that work ethic really pays off, grows you emotionally, it grows you intellectually. You get introduced to so many worlds beyond yourself when you participate in something new.